Round one at the Hangtown Motocross Classic proved two things in AMA Motocross: that James Stewart and Ricky Carmichael are still the fastest. In Moto 1, Stewart was just that much faster. But in the second Moto, Carmichael showed his '1 rival that he'll still lay it down, title or not. Stewart, meanwhile, threw it away twice, ending a frustrating day, but coming out healthy. The 97th AMA Motocross victory of Carmichael's career puts him well within reach of the century mark as the complete end of his career comes to a close. Round two, the 2007 AMA Toyota Motocross Championship presented by FMF. It's the 31st annual Monster Energy Kawasaki High Point National. Hi everybody, I'm Ralph Shaheen alongside multi-time national champion Jeff Emig, and working the pits for us today, Aaron Bates. Well, this is round one of the Monster Energy Kawasaki Triple Crown of Motocross. Any rider in each class who sweeps High Point, Redbud, and Steel City will be awarded a $25,000 cash bonus. And there's some top privateer payouts as well, and a Kawasaki pit bike in each round will be given away to a spectator. James Stewart getting ready. You saw Ricky Carmichael, and it's a warm day here, Jeff Emig.
It is a perfect day for motocross here at Mount Morris. See Carmichael, Stewart, Ferry, Millsaps, Langston. This is all the big guys.
Big move for Tim Ferry getting around James Stewart at one point, even in last week's competition for a big spot.
You see Stewart started the first moto last week with the hole shot, made a little mistake and had to ride from behind.
And Carmichael had his woes as well, but he bounced back for a win in Moto number 2. But in Moto number 1, it was Stewart who got out front and ran away.
So we just had the ultimate battle at the opening round. Stewart taking the first moto.
Then Moto number 2 is all about number 4.
Well, he definitely showed that his strength and conditioning is still on par, even though he's headed into retirement.
There was Ferry passing Stewart. And we get caught up now with Aaron Bates for a Progressive Direct pre-race report.
Well, we witnessed James Stewart take a couple of crashes last weekend at the opener at Hangtown, and nothing has changed coming into the second round here at Mount Morris. Yesterday during qualifying, James Stewart pulled off after crashing, and then he came in for practice first thing this morning, but yet pulled off one more time, not feeling comfortable on the bike still. We were able to catch up with James Stewart a little bit earlier and find out his take on what happened last weekend and what kind of modifications they've done to their bike to prepare themselves for today's event.
Over this finish line jump, there was a few little kickers on there, and kind of went to the side and scrubbed a little bit and just kind of caught my foot pegs. You know, it wasn't really a big deal, but I got lucky. I landed in the soft stuff, and you know, we've been fighting with bike setup all week, so you know, we've been just trying different things, and you know, we're just trying to find the problem, and I'm fine. There's no not sore or anything, just a little frustrated, you know, stupid falls like that, but we're all right. We're here today.
Jeff, we saw a good battle between Ricky and James last week, and a good one between them right here as well last year.
Well, these two competitors were fighting tooth and nail for the supremacy of the motocross class. Look how close they are, wheel to wheel, bar to bar. Fans were loving it.
Stewart was very fast, but Jeffy had his problems as well.
Watch this move right here. Had the lead, cross-rutted, that's a double down. Watch the replay. Rear wheel gets off to the left. That was one of the most abusive crashes I have ever seen. I can't believe that James walked away from that.
Here's our Honda aerial cam giving you a good look at this racetrack.
Track here at Mount Morris today is in perfect condition. Going to go on board with Jason Thomas. This is the roller section. Up on top, kind of doubles down here. This is earlier in the day. Track's in pretty good condition. Going to be very rutted, as you see it is here through this section. Extremely challenging track here today. This is the section where Stewart crashed last year. This is that double down earlier today in practice. Very smooth, huge triple up, just past the starting line. Going to be a great track today, and this guy, Ricky Carmichael, Michael Lessie, looking to do battle.
And James Stewart will join in with them as well as we get ready for Moto number 1. Here's a look at the practice times, and Carmichael was the quickest one today.
He was definitely the fastest, but you gotta think that James Stewart has something to prove today. Wants to make up for that crash last year. Wants to get back up on top of the Motocross Championship.
Format the same as always, 40 riders in the gates, 2 motos, 30 minutes plus 2 laps. Paying points to the top 20 riders.
Take a look at the riders on the starting line before the first moto. Everyone's pretty optimistic at this point. They've made some changes to the bike, looking for that win.
In our Suzuki starting grid, and we saw Tim Ferry have a very good ride at Hangtown.
He definitely did, and actually beat his teammate James Stewart. Had to be a huge confidence booster.
You might have seen Nick Way's name in there as well, in number 27. Of course, he got hurt partway through the Supercross season. He's coming back from injury.
And it's tough to come back from an injury like that and step into everyone that's fit, ready to go.
We're going to have the gate drop for Moto number 1 when we come back. With motorcycle racing, now you can get the latest race results and news right on your phone with weekly green alerts from Speed. Text KX to 773333 on your mobile phone to receive free motorcycle racing text alerts. Speed Green Alerts presented by Kawasaki. Well, can Ricky Carmichael pick up where he left off at Hangtown and win another one and really make some more noise? Here's our Honda Skycam as we get set to drop the gate on Moto number 1. Looks like everybody gets through there pretty smoothly with Davey Millsaps out front.
And Mike Alessi in second place, another great starter. Oh, huge mistake by Mike Alessi. Maybe he got bumped from behind by Stewart, but it definitely put him from second out of the top 5.
Stewart runs in second. Millsaps has the lead on the factory Honda. And Andrew Short's right behind him, Jeff. Sorry about that.
So much excitement right now. First moto, the motocross class at a national motocross event. These are the biggest stars in all of motocross racing. Davey Millsaps stepping up from the lights division, racing with the best riders in the world now.
Here's our progressive direct whole shot replay.
You see Millsaps at 118 sweeps in. You see just how tough it is in the motocross class. 450cc 4-stroke bikes throwing lots of roost.
Battling for the lead. Millsaps out front on the 118. Boy, Stewart coming inside quickly.
He's putting on a charge. He knows that the number 4 of Ricky Carmichael is back there somewhere. But Davey Millsaps with a great start. Oh, and he cross ruts. Luckily, he didn't take James Stewart out in the process. Stewart got on the binders, gave him a little bit of room there. Headed down towards the finish line here. You see Andrew Short, 29.
And then Carmichael back there in 4th.
That's that double down last year where Stewart cross-rutted, went over the bars. You got to think that that's in his mind when he goes through that section. And as the day goes on and the track gets even more rutted, it's going to be even more difficult. We even heard that Stewart went over and took a look at that downhill double when he first got here on Saturday.
Stewart around Millsaps, takes the lead. And watch this replay. This is just how much these guys are using every inch of the racetrack.
This is Jason Thomas, and Langston comes by. I thought he was all the way on the right. Langston said, I think there's a little more room there to sneak by. And that's the thing about Mount Morris here, is that you can use, there's all of the track, there's so many lines.
Down goes Carmichael.
Carmichael getting a little close up, little sample, needed to get a little more in touch with the racetrack there. And amazingly kept his position.
And he's got Michael Byrne right behind him. Boy, that's 2 weeks in a row Carmichael finds himself in the dirt.
in the first moto. So just needing to find a little bit of rhythm. The rider that has the rhythm and the speed right now is Monster Energy Kawasaki rider James Stewart. Definitely out to prove a point, not only from last year, but from Hangtown last week.
Well, last week, Carmichael fell, got up, and ended up winning the overall. See if he can do it again here today. Tim Ferry riding in 5th.
Having one of his best seasons ever, and 5th place right now in the motocross class, and he's going to be charging after all of these riders too. And another rider that always puts on a hard charge is number 8 of Grant Langston, coming up on Michael Byrne on the Rockstar Suzuki. See, that's that downhill double. No ruts in it right now. Maybe the track workers smooth that out specifically for James Stewart. I don't know, but the track is in great condition right now, but come second moto, this track's going to be torn up and the ruts will be really deep.
Meanwhile, the fight for 6th continuing with Byrne and Langston. The Honda Skycam shows us our overall race leader, James Stewart, out front, and boy, really nobody challenging him now. Here comes Millsaps. He's battling for 2nd with Andrew Short. Short on the 29 has started to reel him in.
And it seems like Short and Millsaps, ever since they came back from their injuries and they started racing Supercross and now in the motocross, they seem to be glued together. You know, they spend a lot of time together at Team Honda, testing and practicing, and pretty similar matched riders.
Very different in their styles.
This is true.
And we'll be right back with some more from High Point after this. Welcome back to Moto number 1 from High Point Raceway in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. Jeff, last week in California we had hot temperatures pretty much like today. How different is the dirt though between here in Pennsylvania and what we saw in California?
Well, it's a little bit softer here, even though the dirt is clay. And I always preferred this track. It was one of my favorite racetracks. I like the mix between the outdoor motocross, but yet it's got a lot of jumps, like the triple step up that we've just seen Carmichael do. It's got a couple of little rhythm sections, but I especially like the turns. I love how this track shapes up, and the ruts right there. You see Carmichael taking an inside line there. It's a lot of fun to ride this track.
Carmichael having a lot of fun right now as he's battling with Andrew Short, fighting for 3rd.
You really hear the crowd responding here. That's a great thing about the race here at Mount Morris, as Carmichael takes the position from Short. We haven't seen anyone do that here today. Triple through that rhythm section of 6 jumps. Amazing move by Ricky Carmichael.
And now Ricky goes after Davey Millsaps for 2nd.
And the interesting thing about Carmichael, spoke to him after Hangtown, wasn't completely happy with his bike setup, said that he had to make some changes. And that it's just incredible that Carmichael, even though he's nearing his retirement, he's still out there testing. He's still out there trying to make things better. And that's the attitude that a winner and a champion like Carmichael has in everything in his life. He's always trying to make things better. Nothing is ever good enough.
Well, he's trying to make his position better right now by taking 2nd away from Millsaps, and he's going to do it.
Nice move by Carmichael there. Millsaps needs to latch onto Carmichael, needs to watch Ricky's lines, try to figure out a little bit of speed here. You see him going way to the rider's left, Carmichael going way to the rider's right. That's because that roost coming off the bikes. Got to stay out of that.
Jeff, you mentioned that Carmichael's always trying to improve and change things. What's he been working on lately? Any idea?
Well, I think specifically this last week was just on his chassis setup of the Suzuki, and you know, he won last week, but yet he still wants to make it better. Here's this replay. Watch Carmichael. Triples there, triples out, just rockets past Andrew Short on the outside.
Hardest way to do it. And then he went after Davey Millsaps as well. the other Honda factory rider.
See him taking an outside line once again. Millsap's in the preferred line, and Carmichael comes screaming down the outside. Not any bumps there. See Millsap's hitting all the braking bumps. Carmichael just finds a smoother line, carries a little more momentum on a longer route, but makes the pass.
So Carmichael gets the job done, gets himself up to second. Now we have to see if he can reel in James Stewart. Looks like he's got a pretty healthy gap between him and Stewart.
Well, we've seen right there, Stewart taking that 6-jump rhythm section, 2, 2, and 2. Carmichael definitely making up time by doing the triple-triple. We'll have to keep an eye on that as the moto wears on. Stewart also making changes to his bike this weekend. Just about every time that he's gotten on the bike, they've made a change to the chassis, to the suspension, something, trying to find a little extra speed and a little extra comfort along the way.
Any idea what in particular they've been working on?
Well, Team Kawasaki would be pretty tight-lipped about that at this point, but as we take a look at Kevin Windham and Michael Byrne battling it out, early in the season like this, you're going through so many changes with the bike and the chassis, and there's so many things that you can do. Rebound settings, compression settings on the shocks, on the forks, changing the rake on the front end, on how the bike turns, the height of the rear suspension and the seat fender height. A lot of things to work on, and when you get the combination right, you can pretty much stick with it. But early in the season, it's pretty tough to find that combination and get it perfect.
It's a pretty good battle right here. Michael Byrne on that Rockstar Suzuki number 26, trying to hold off Kevin Windham.
It's a good ride for Michael Byrne at this point.
Windham on the Sobi No Fear Samsung Honda gets around him, taking the spot away, and Windham moves himself to 7th.
See, and taking a look at Michael Byrne right now, bike just seems to be jumping around a little bit, not really consistent with his lines, and it's probably a situation where you need to make some changes to the bike once again and try to make some improvements for the second moto also.
So we continue to run laps here in moto number 1 at High Point. Welcome back to our Honda Sky Cam. Ralph Shaheen alongside Jeff Emig. And Aaron Bates covering the action for us down on the pit area. Stewart has seen his lead over Ricky Carmichael slip down to within 10 seconds. So the 4 is coming, Jeff.
3 other riders that are in a heated battle. The 118 to Davey Millsaps, Andrew Short on the 29, and Tim Ferry, who's been strong all season, closing up on these guys. That's a tough position to be in because you're catching so much roost. But the great thing about Mount Morris is there's so many lines to choose from, and the track changes as the moto goes on. Ferry's going to have the opportunity to ride behind these guys. See him finding a line there. That was just off of the track. Look how Ferry's way on the outside, not following these riders. Looks like he's going to take the position from Andrew Short.
Ferry inside, gets it done, and I thought he was going to maybe get Millsaps too at the same time.
And these ruts are so difficult around those sweepers and down those straightaways. The bike wants to jump around. You're hitting the braking bumps, the acceleration bumps. A lot of G-outs right here down in the bottom of these hills as they rocket back up to the top of the hills. Extremely challenging.
Tim Ferry was telling us all season long during the Supercross season how much he was looking forward to the outdoors. And boy, I can see why. He's really running well this year. He's right in the thick of this fight for 3rd, and the position's going to go to Tim Ferry.
You know, that almost looked like maybe a Timmy scrub there over the finish line as he took that position away from Millsaps. It wasn't quite laid over like the Bubba scrub, but he did have the front wheel turn. Bike was a little sideways. Used that to his advantage.
Good enough to help get 3rd. Well, here's the man that perfected the Bubba scrub, James Stewart. And he's got his hands full of Ricky Carmichael, who has just chewed up that gap between him and Stewart.
We've seen Carmichael pull a tear off there. That was a huge effort and a burst of energy by Carmichael trying to get past Stewart cleanly. Stewart slammed the door.
These two have been known to race each other extremely hard, but very close and very clean.
And it's a tough position right now for James Stewart because Carmichael has caught you, and Carmichael now can get comfortable, knows that he has lines and that he has the speed. What does James Stewart have? What sort of burst of energy can he put in to win this moto and keep Carmichael behind him?
Oh, Stewart with a bit of a bobble there, Jeff.
Carmichael's trying to take advantage of it, carrying some momentum on the outside.
Here he comes.
Stewart has it.
And Carmichael takes it away, but can he hold on to it? Yes, it looks like he can. And Carmichael is taking the lead away from James Stewart.
What a great battle once again here today in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania between these two champions.
That was a perfect Bubba scrub coming up over that jump right there.
Oh, and Carmichael chooses not the Bubba scrub. He chooses just to air it out over the finish line. And that finish line jump was actually where Stewart crashed in practice earlier. You notice Carmichael here already putting a second and a half on Stewart, just gapping him right away. See, Stewart was choosing the middle line, made a mistake. Carmichael, seeing that, puts on a burst of effort and rocket pass down the hill. Stewart has the preferred inside line right here, but watch Carmichael just hit the outside line, hammer the throttle. Actually, he makes a mistake. He's fortunate to still make the pass.
So the points leader is leading here in moto number 1 at Mount Morris. And Carmichael really pulling away from Stewart, Jeff. Are you surprised at that?
It is very surprising. He looks so comfortable. You see Carmichael looking back there, seeing where Stewart's at. Just looks really fluid. A lot of confidence at this point. He knows he just came from a long ways back.
Final lap.
Stewart.
This is the last lap of moto number 1.
Carmichael's basically just riding around at this point. Keep the bike on 2 wheels, save a little energy for the second moto, but man, as he showed his dominance and his strength here today in the first moto.
Look at the gap back to Stewart. It's rare that you see James Stewart even in second place, let alone that far back.
And it's a little bit demoralizing, a little bit kind of makes you wonder, okay, we got to make some changes. No changes need to be made here for Carmichael. He is on a roll.
Carmichael looking for the checkered flag. There it is. And Ricky Carmichael wins moto number 1 here at High Point. We're going to talk to the winners and get set for moto number 2 when we come back. Watch all the 2007 AMA Supercross and Superbike events on Speed, On Demand, online, and it's all free, courtesy of Yamaha. So log on now to speedtv.com, keyword Yamaha, get up to speed. Big crowd on hand today. Ricky Carmichael rides into the podium area. Here's Tim Ferry with Aaron.
I love the track here at High Point. It's got the best traction out of probably almost any national, so I felt good. I kind of messed that start up a little bit. I wasn't prepared for that much traction, kind of bogged it, but I'll come back and try to get the whole shot in the second moto.
Here's a look at our Toyota Trucks results page. Kevin Windham finishes in 6th, Grant Langston 7th, Michael Byrne dropped all the way back to 8th. Michael Lessie was 11th today, but big surprise, James Stewart, how far back he was in 2nd. Here's James.
James, so close, you almost tasted that one. What went on out there?
I was just trying and just made too many mistakes. I felt like I had a pretty decent pace going, but it was just tough. It was good out there. It's nice and rough, and Ricky rode a better race than me. It's nothing I can really say about it, and got to go back and just work harder. We've been struggling all day, so I'm a lot better off than I was last year at this time.
Well, so far, the only moto that's really gone well for James was moto number 1 in Hangtown. Carmichael's won the last 2. Here's Ricky with Aaron.
Well, it's hard to believe from 11-second deficit to a 6-second lead. RC, can you believe this even happened, especially on your last go-around here at Mount Morris?
No, I can't. You know, we got one more. Man, that was just phenomenal, man. I fell down first lap and worked my butt off and slowly inching up and got the win, man. And he didn't fall. I was glad to beat him without him falling. It was real fun, man. Real fun racing.
All the riders on the track are AMA members. Are you? If not, call 1-800-AMA-JOIN or visit AMADirectLink.com. AMA Rights, Riding and Racing. Now let's check out a little moto history from this weekend's Legends exhibition put on by Parts Unlimited. If you're a moto history fan and we're not here at Mount Morris, and hopefully you'll be lucky enough to visit the Redbud or Steel City rounds, because this is a treat. Parts Unlimited has assembled a fleet of restored racing relics for display. They've even found some of the riders who once rode them take one lap around the track in honor to salute this great sport's past.
I think it's just like in anything, whether it's, world history or your state history, and in our case, it's motocross history.
One of the neat things is to see the reactions of people. You know, they might not be able to relate to 18-year-old Ryan Villapoto or the Alessi brothers, but, you know, they remember a day they came out here at a High Point and they saw Damon Bradshaw and Jeff Stanton just lay it all out on the track.
I think it's good in any sport, you know, to know the history of your sport. And I always study the past champions before me and the beginning of the sport, and look at pictures of the old bikes. And
for me, and I think a lot of the riders, they really like to gawk and look at the equipment that they had. Nowadays, a lot of the bikes are very similar, where then the bikes had real distinct character.
Little intricacies like the fact that Jeff Stanton liked his front brake lever just a certain way, so his mechanic, Dan Bentley, used to take tape and they would make a little bracket for him so it'd hold his fingers.
The amount of the bikes have changed. It's unbelievable. I mean, you look at the Elsinores, and then you look at the 80s, and then you look at the 92s that I'll be riding, and now the change has been unbelievable.
Roger DeCoster hasn't been on a bike in 6 years, but it was awful special to see the man ride alongside Carmichael.
I don't think anyone would appreciate Roger DeCoster as a racer today if he actually tried to race, but one slow lap around, he's still the man.
people make such a big deal about it, you know, like I have Scott from Fox, they made riding gear for me, he has a helmet painted and everything, and I did not get that treatment when I was racing. Now I get more for parade lap than when I was racing the World Championship. It's crazy.
For me to go out and ride with Roger DeCoster on the two-strokes is really a treat.
I don't think I've ever seen him on a bike. So for me, I'm excited to see Roger DeCoster on a bike, okay? It's like, wow, Roger's going to go out there with us as well, you know? So it's just, you know, all those people get to see history.
Maybe they'll even get a chance to see our own Jeff Emming on a bike before the year's out of one of these Legends things.
Yeah, it's a pretty special event that they're putting on this season.
Welcome back, Moto2 ready to drop the gate from our Honda aerial cam. Davey Millsap's getting the progressive direct hole shot again.
Both of the Honda boys, Andrew Short up there with Millsap, both those guys getting great starts, and Ricky Carmichael improving from moto number 1 as he doubles past Millsap's to take the lead. We haven't seen that all day.
That was an impressive move, probably the hottest move of the weekend.
Well, we'll see if Davey Millsaps, the 118, can pick up on that, learn a little something from his neighbor there down in Florida.
Short running in third, Ferry right there in fourth. Well, Jeff, I mean, obviously it's going to be the talk. If Ricky Carmichael goes on to win here, he's going to lengthen the points lead. Of course, he has already said he's not running the whole season, but there's going to be a lot of people who are going to say, how can he not if he's going to have the points lead? But do you still believe he'll leave?
Well, I definitely think that he has a plan and he's going to stick to that. all the rest of the riders are going to benefit from that. I'm sure they're not disappointed Carmichael retiring at all. He's been so dominant, and Carmichael looking for his 6th consecutive national win here at Mount Morris. That's a pretty incredible run here at this track. And
Stewart gets around Andrew Short, moves up a spot closer to Carmichael, but he's got a ways to go.
well, we'll just have to see if Stewart, Factory Kawasaki, made any changes to the bike, anything to improve his speed and his lap time. So he definitely needs to grab that overall. And we talked about Carmichael retiring, and there's this added dynamic for James Stewart that is, okay, do I chase after Ricky and battle him for the win when he's only going to ride half the series? So I don't necessarily have to beat him these races to win the championship. Stewart's a racer. He's an extremely competitive individual, and you know, it's an interesting balance and an interesting scenario. Oh, as Stewart does the double also.
Now we're going to watch Stewart move up through the field as he's now up to second.
Right here, he takes the position from his teammate Tim Ferry on the inside. So comfortable as he makes a pass, pulls a tear off. Another position here from Andrew Short as he blasts down the outside, takes the position there, nice and easy. And finally, one last pass on Davey Millsaps as Stewart just on the pegs, on the throttle, pushes Millsaps wide, makes one more position closer to our leader, Ricky Carmichael.
But it's going to take a lot of work to catch number 4 today.
It's going to take a lot of work and a lot of speed at this point because Carmichael totally on the gas. Let's take a replay right here. This is that double down. So close. That was a little bit of luck at that point. That was where Stewart crashed last year, and it's a fairly easy obstacle, but man, it seems like these top riders here just cutting the edges a little too close. It was a pretty close call.
Grant Langston on the 8, the Yamaha factory rider. Getting around Michael Alessi, that'll move Langston up to 7th, and Alessi drops back to 8th.
Grant Langston's been charging through the pack all day long, pulling up on the back with Kevin Windham here, and you can see how deep the ruts are in the second moto. See both these guys coming down our left side there. A lot of roost here, squaring it up, doing the double down.
Kevin Windham running along in 6th.
Track's getting extremely rough at this point, and by the end of this moto, the inside ruts are going to be really deep. Braking bumps and all that are really gonna get difficult. This is that section that Stewart and Carmichael were actually doubling. They're leading into it. These riders opting not to. The track is so difficult at this point. Windham in 6th, Langston in 7th. These guys are going to be battling for a top 5 position in points. See as Langston comes down there, the ruts are really getting defined at the bottom. That's because it's typically softer at the bottom of those hills.
Meanwhile, Ricky Carmichael out front here in Moto 2, just like he was in Moto number 1. Moto number 2 continues here at High Point Raceway, Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. 2007 outdoor season getting underway. There's the gap between Ricky Carmichael and James Stewart, and back here is Andrew Short and Tim Ferry. Now they're fighting over 4th. Davey Millsaps is in 3rd on the Honda.
See these guys on the pegs coming down the hill. Ferry been putting on a really hard charge. Starts haven't quite been as good as what he needed him to be today. And we see Langston moving past Windham on the inside.
That's for 6th position. We go back to the fight with Ferry on the Monster Energy Kawasaki number 15, chasing the factory Honda of Andrew Short.
Pretty easy obstacle right there, but Ferry making a little mistake. Here's that roller section at the top. This section is so much fun. And Ferry definitely has the line there. Squares him up on the off camber.
And he's going to complete that pass. Now can Tim Ferry reel in Davey Millsaps and take 3rd? That would put Ferry up on the podium and complete another great weekend in the opening rounds here, the 2007 season in the motocross class.
Tim Ferry has been so strong this season, and so there's no doubt that in my mind, at the end of the second moto, Ferry's really going to have something for Millsaps. Fitness seems to be as good as it's ever been, and his confidence is definitely high. You see how difficult it is when you get into some of the lapped riders. They take you out of the best line. You have to find some new lines. Well, every rider has got a story about how they've been leading a national motocross event or coming through the pack, and a lapped rider has either taken them out or pushed them off the track. Right now, Tim Ferry having to weave his way through those guys. Looks like he gets through that pack cleanly.
Well, that's the key. The rider that gets through quickest and without the least amount of problems gets a big advantage. And Ricky Carmichael has just been racking up the advantages all weekend long as he closes in on Jason Thomas now.
Hugging the inside. Perfect technique. Carmichael is as good as I've ever seen him. It just is mind-boggling that with his schedule, what it is, he's got the kids, the stock car racing going on, and he comes out and still performs as the very best motocross racer in the world. It's a true testament to his philosophy and his racing program that they leave no stone unturned.
Except for the ones he's kicking up in his roost.
Well put, Ralph. And he has thrown a lot of roost here today. James Stewart still putting in a great effort, running in 2nd right now.
And Jeff, you know, James is so used to just dominating this year in the Supercross season. It's really got to be getting to him a little bit that this motocross season just is not. Welcome back to Mount Morris, Pennsylvania, High Point Raceway. And Ricky Carmichael on his way to winning his 3rd moto of the 2007 season and his 2nd race overall. Taking the season opener in Hangtown and now here on the final lap at High Point Raceway. And Jeff, just before we went to break, we were talking about how it's really got to be eating at James Stewart, the fact that he is not able to be as dominant in the motocross season as he was in the Supercross season this year.
It's tough because looks like he's searching for some answers with the setting on the bike. Carmichael here seems to be dialed in, but like I talked about earlier, there is that dynamic here for Stewart that typically you don't find. You don't ever have to race a rider for the lead in a championship and have him be heading into retirement, only riding half of the races. So typically it's a season's worth of battles. So James Stewart doesn't have to beat Carmichael because halfway through the season, Carmichael's going to be out. But the racer in him wants to keep improving, doesn't want to get beat by anyone. So right now, Kawasaki and James Stewart are definitely going to have to go back to the drawing board, find some answers, whether it be with James or with the bike, the combination of the two, to try to beat Carmichael and get some championship points away from him.
Well, let's face it, James doesn't want to luck into the championship either. He wants to earn it and prove that he earned it. Carmichael is definitely proving he hasn't lost it in any way, shape, or form. He's about to win his 2nd National of the year.
winning it by a pretty good margin here. You see the fans here at High Point Raceway. This is the last time that they're going to see the greatest motocross rider of all time. And they're definitely showing him a lot of respect and admiration here as he takes his final lap here at High Point.
Working his way around, celebrating, and still, even at the relaxed pace, no sign of Stewart.
6 races in a row here at Mount Morris. He has absolutely dominated this track. You've got fans with blue shirts, yellow shirts, green shirts are all cheering him on.
And now checkers. Ricky Carmichael has won it here at Mount Morris, Pennsylvania, High Point Raceway. Round 2 goes to the breaking news, in-depth analysis, and more with the Motorcycle Racing Report, only at speedtv.com. Keyword Green, presented by Kawasaki. Have you called the AMA yet? What are you waiting for? 1-800-AMA-JOIN or AMADirectLink.com. Protect your right to ride. Davey Millsap's got 2 Progressive Direct hole shots today. As we take a look at our Toyota Trucks unofficial results, Davey ended up finishing 3rd in Moto number 2. And he went straight to the victory podium area where our Aaron Bates has caught up with Davey.
Davey Millsap's his very first overall podium finish of the season. Davey, after suffering from an injury that you've had this year, what does this do for your confidence being up here on the podium again?
Oh, you know, it definitely builds my confidence up. The first month I got the whole shot, and my pants were falling halfway down my butt, and it was kind of hard to focus on that. And, you know, I knew if I rode my own pace the whole race, you know, eventually I could podium, so came out to it.
Here's a look at the Toyota Trucks overall results. A pair of wins gives Ricky the overall win as well. James Stewart finishes 2nd again. Here he is with Aaron.
James, a little off the pace for normal compared to you, 27 seconds behind. What was wrong today?
I just struggled all day, you know, from Saturday first practice to now, but, you know, I'm pretty happy to just get out of here with 2 seconds, you know, like you said, we struggled all day, and I need a break. You know, it seems like it's long. That week went by so quick, so we got a lot of work to do, and, you know, I got a lot of work to do myself, so we'll get it done.
Sometimes it's just not your weekend, and sometimes it is. Ricky Carmichael wins it and extends a points lead, and once again, he talks to Aaron Bates.
What is it that you get your drive from, even though you're not competing in a championship, still getting that win?
You know, it's you can't do this sport, or at least I can't, you know, half tilt. And so I figure since I'm doing part-time and you still have to practice and train all the time, I want to go out and get as many wins as I can and make it fun for these fans. They're definitely getting their money's worth, and it's a payback to them. It really is, and my sponsors. And you can never die and you can never lay down, and that's why I'm out here doing what I'm doing.
Well, that's why they call him the GOAT, the greatest of all time. You'll get to see Ricky in action one more time from Southwick coming up June 17th. You'll see it here on Speed at 5 p.m. For Aaron Bates and Jeff Emig, I'm Ralph Shaheen. So long from High Point. Congratulations to RC.